Welcome to the SPE Podcast, powered by the Society of Petroleum Engineers. You're listening to the SPE Live Technical Director Series, challenges and questions to improve data analytics and machine learning applications in reservoir disciplines. The audio from this episode was previously recorded on February 1st, 2023. And now your moderator, Beryl Dindurk.
Welcome to this SPE Live Technical Director Series on challenges and questions to improve data analytics and machine learning applications in reservoir discipline. My name is Beryl Dindurk. I'm a professor of petroleum engineering at University of Houston and 2017 to 2020 SPE Data Science and Engineering Analytics Technical Director. Today's SPE Live will last about 30 minutes. We encourage you to ask questions during the program. And I will shortly introduce my guests over here, two SPE directors. And the first one that I'm going to introduce here briefly is Rodolfo Camacho. He is a professor at National University of Mexico. He worked with Pemex for 25 years and holds master's and doctorate degrees in petroleum engineering from University of Tulsa and bachelor's degree in geophysical engineering from National University of Mexico. He is currently SPE Reservoir Technical Director. So our second guest over here and technical director is Dr. Silvio Livescu. He has recently moved to University of Texas at Austin after being the chief scientist of pressure pumping product line at Baker Hughes with fundamental and applied research, technology deployment, and innovation experience related to subsurface engineering. He is also the 2020 to 2023 SPE Data Science and Engineering Analytics Technical Director. So we will start our live series right away over here. I'm the moderator, so I'm going to ask a number of questions. Of course, we will have an informal discussion board over here, plus we will add some of the questions from the audience, etc. But we have a couple of them that we want to go ahead and start the discussion over here in a way to ignite the entire thing here. So one of the questions that we are asked quite a bit, this is an aggregate of it actually, of our industry or SPE as a whole. How can the DSEA machine learning or artificial intelligence, whatever the combination that you want to take these words, link all technical disciplines, that is reservoir, in fact, the specific case here is the reservoir, drilling, completions, production, etc. actually, together, and what are the implications of this integration? I will start first with Rodolfo over here, and we'll go back and forth with Dr. Livescu as well, actually.
Well, thank you, Beryl, for the introduction, and I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this SPE Live again. Well, in the context of energy transition, considering the capture and storage of CO2 as an obligation for monitoring safe storage, the reservoir becomes a liability, but if the CO2 is used for EOR purposes, then the reservoir will continue being an asset. In the technical literature, there is a description of several processes that are present in the injection of CO2, like dissolution, geomechanics, and rock fluid interactions, but there is still very little addressing the applicability and limitations of current models. Thus, there is a very good opportunity. There is a room for data analytics and artificial intelligence applications to CCS and CCUS to unlock the potential to accelerate these projects. Of course, for these applications, we need to have data consistently available. And for the case of hydrogen storage in hypermobility and porosity reservoirs, depleted reservoirs, again, we expect future data analytics and artificial intelligence applications in these projects. I will stop here with this response.
Okay, great points, Dr. Camacho. So I see a couple of key points over here. You are seeing opportunities in terms of acceleration of the processes or what we are doing, and also what we might be doing and what we are doing in the new areas. So from that point of view, it requires some type of an integration, and that's the key point of this question as well. What would you say about this entire concept behind this question, Silvio?
Well, thank you, Birol. So first of all, hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with my friends and colleagues, Rodolfo and Birol, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk again once a year for SPE Live as a technical director. This is, I think, my third or fourth already SPE Live event. So a great question. I can answer it in several ways. First of all, let me say that the data science and engineering analytics technical discipline has been created in SPE exactly to address that kind of integration and collaboration between all the other technical disciplines, right? And so if you think about reservoir, it's our largest technical discipline in SPE. However, it's related directly to the other technical disciplines, and data science is exactly that technical discipline that it bridges the gap and bring it together all the other technical disciplines into the reservoir, right? When I was at Baker Hughes, I remember I just before I left, I traveled to North Sea, to the Middle East, and I talked with several operators at the time, and all of them actually were telling me that in terms of technology development, they felt that they were not that interested anymore at that time, and everything they were talking about was cost reduction of everything they were doing, and so since then. We have many case histories, we have many papers in SPE, we have many operators talking about exactly that. Data science is integrating different technical disciplines as a way to reduce costs, right? And we are going to address that in several ways today. But I'll stop here and I'll wait for more questions, Birol. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Again, great to see two of my colleagues over here again. And I'm going to ask one of the key questions over here that is discussed in various ways. And it's going to start with the main challenges. What are the main challenges? We talk about data science, data analytics, engineering, and we want to apply. What are the really main challenges in application of data analytics and machine learning to several reservoir engineering problems? I'm asking specifically for reservoir engineering, but of course, it's problem for every discipline in terms of that. We are talking about that. What is the issue over here? I'll go backward over here now. I'll start with Silvio, with yourself actually.
All right, thank you, Birol. This is another great question that has been asked several times in the past. I remember at different SPE conferences, and the answers are kind of similar. So there are many problems that we need to solve in reservoir engineering, and probably the most unsolved problem right now is wins that we can prove. Commercial improvements because of our use or understanding of data. So the story actually will come beyond machine learning, data science, data analytics, all these great methods actually. The stories that we come up with are very important for us as an industry, for our management, actually to understand the value of data we are bringing from the subsurface, from our reservoirs. So, for instance, and I know Rodolfo has a lot of things to say about this, but within our technical disciplines, reservoir and data science, we have a work group that is looking into coming up with some kind of data sets similar to the 10 SPE comparative solution projects that were developed, several 15 years ago or 20 years ago, for the purpose of benchmarking all the reservoir simulators that were developed at the time. Pretty much all the operators had some kind of, and vendors, services companies had some kind of, initiatives to develop their own reservoir simulators. And so those 10 SPE comparative solution projects were a way of our industry to benchmark the reservoir simulators and models. We need something similar right now for data science, right? So we need data sets, we need companies to come together and share data, either real data or synthetic data, in a way for us actually to know what is beyond all the algorithms, all the models we have for data science and machine learning. Thank you. Rodolfo, please go ahead.
Great points, actually. This will go back to Rodolfo because we said reservoir engineering specifically. Let's hear from you.
Yes. Well, thank you. There are many applications of data analytics and machine learning to several reservoir engineering problems, but there is a lack of common understanding and established guidelines for building robust and sustainable solutions. And besides the data issues that Silvio just mentioned, we don't know which are the appropriate modeling methods for specific problems. There is a shortage of skills, and a proper balance between physical understanding and data-driven methods is still a big question. Also, the literature has been emphasized that physics-based data-driven approaches are more appropriate than purely machine learning strategies. We need to know the strengths and limitations of each method. Those, I think, are the main challenges in the application of these tools to the reservoir discipline.
Okay, great points. What I take, the takeaway points over here is that we want to accelerate the development and we want to go commercial, use and understand the data so that we can do something about it. And it fuses right away to what Rodolfo said over here is that you need the content knowledge over here. So a machine is not going to do standalone. It sounds like that. And lack of understanding is an issue, and sharing and robustness. So they cycle back to the culture of our current culture related to enabling environment. If I'm capturing the integrated response from both of you. So it will bring us the following question as a result, actually. What are the things that we do and we need to do in the context of energy transition, actually? Now, all this understanding and bringing a different scale and a time scale when we bring the carbon dioxide into the picture, then we ask this question: is reservoir an asset or liability in the context of energy transition, and how data and data science and machine learning can help us in terms of our obligations and surveillance, actually? So how can we address these questions, and starting from today, actually? And I'll start with Rodolfo, actually, this time. I flipped the order again.
Well, in order to address these questions that you pose, Birol, I think we need to try to answer some questions in the applications of data analytics and artificial intelligence in the reservoir modeling and performance prediction. First of all, depending on the type of model that we use, different types of and amounts of data are needed. Data-driven models like neural networks are not restricted to a certain type of data. But how are we sure that we have the representative, sufficient, and good quality data? That will be the first question. Mm-hmm. Also, data-driven models do not rely on any a priori knowledge of the reservoir. Now, how can we be sure if our understanding of the current production process is sufficient to judge the quality of a history match, for example, with data-driven models. A reservoir modeling approach is to capture the results of full physics simulations with a lower dimensional representation. To make optimization and uncertainty quantification of viable approaches, the physics model must be replaced by a data-driven surrogate model. However, what will happen if the full physics simulator to generate surrogate results uses some wrong assumptions, and there is a misinterpretation of complexity? And this is very important for the related to the CO2 injection, in looking for a safe storage of that CO2. We even with the reservoir the reservoir production, we have the reservoir behavior, we have these questions, and those will continue with the CO2 injection. The storage of this CO2 has some uncertainties related to how well we know the physics of that system. And with that, I will stop.
Thank you. Sounds great. It sounds like we are already doing it. Data quality is important. So if we do a good job today, I guess we'll be doing better job for the future, whatever the application might be. So I'll just go back to you, Silvio. And what are your points in this in the context of this question?
Thank you very much. So great comments, Rodolfo. What I would like to add is, in addition to everything you said, I will say that we need small wins. So it's a really reservoir simulation, especially using machine learning, data science. It's a really complex problem. We can easily spend our lives doing fundamental research and coming up with very complicated algorithms for predicting our reservoir performance. The problem is we don't know actually how far we are from reality, and probably that has been a problem in our industry for a long time. And so what we need to do is to look for small wins, right? We need to prove that actually our approaches are right, have potential for improving our operations, our production, everything, our metrics. And I don't believe that actually one company now can solve everything. We need to look at our culture and our way of doing things. And so it's important actually for us to open up and start collaborating, with everybody who is interested in coming up with these small wins. We are all in this together, and I truly believe that we are not really competing against each other, actually. The operators really don't compete against each other. So why we don't open up and collaborate in terms of, in our reservoir models using machine learning algorithms and data, sharing the data. That's probably the most important part that I want to stress today.
It goes back to great points, actually. It goes back to, again, square one, sharing data and liberation of data. This goes into both of you, what you highlighted. We have a great segue question from the audience here. I'll ask that one actually by Rosa Maria Mariscal. How can experts in reservoir discipline be involved in modeling and evaluation process to improve the accuracy and acceptance of data analytics and applications, actually? This is, in a way, it sounds like either or type of a question, actually. So what are your points, actually? I'll start with you, Silvio, first on this one.
So again, it goes to those small wins I was talking about. So I do believe that actually a very sharp focus on delivering results more than just continuing to come up with new algorithms with no practical applicability. And there are many papers like that, SPE papers recently, that propose all kind of very complex workflows and new algorithms. And at the end of the day, actually, I think those are all great. But, an asset manager is asking, how that is going to help me, produce more oil, cheaper oil, and things like that. And so we need to focus on the value we are bringing with all these new approaches, right? And how they're applicable to our reservoirs. And second, what I would like to comment on again, it's our culture. We need to open up and we need to collaborate with the others, because we just don't have time to spend another decade trying, to come up with very incremental, small increments in improving our production. Our industry is under stress to lower the cost and to reduce our carbon emissions. And we cannot do that with the same, models we had in the past. I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about business models, and I'm talking about our training models as well.
Sounds like the old days of re-engineering over here. So, Rodolfo, any points on this?
Yes, I agree with the points that Silvio has exposed, and I just want to stress from the reservoir side that we have many challenges that we have to really try to solve. If we think which is the flow equation that we are using, it was from the 19th century, and the continuity equation again from the beginning of the 19th century, Fourier continuity equation for the heat transport. Then we need to really think. It's really a very interesting time that we are living. We have to try to solve. We know that the continuity equation, for example, it has to use some derivatives with a fractional approach. That from physics we know that, and for unconventional reservoirs, we also know that the use of Darcy's law is no longer applicable. But knowing that, and that is what I was stressing in my previous interventions, that trying to emphasize that the physical understanding is we are still missing that. If we don't really understand that and trying to go into data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, without taking into account that, is kind of it's just putting too much emphasis on the data, on the production data, and trying to, with that knowledge, trying to qualify the forecasts that we're receiving from data-driven models, for example. That is difficult. In fact, one of the good points of the physics-based data-driven models is that it gives us the opportunity to understand the physics that is behind these results that data-driven models is providing us. But yes, we have to. It's a really interesting time in the sense that we have to address those reservoir challenges that we have, but at the same time trying to introduce these technologies of data-driven models and try to get both of them in an harmony. Don't try to just be confident and say, well, these artificial intelligence tools are using in many applications are used those artificial intelligence tools, but we need to be sure that we know the physics of these reservoir problems. Mm-hmm. That will be my comment.
Okay, great. So if in summary, if I summarize it in a way, if you only look at the production, you may miss what's happening in the reservoir and the physics-based like flow and continuity equation. So basically, if I isolate that question, we go back in time to decline curve only. But if you don't understand what's happening in the ground, it's hard for us to react to what happens or what we could do actually. I don't know. I summarized in a couple of lines what you said actually. And now we have another question from the, this question comes quite a bit actually, especially from students. The question number 2 over here by Uzo Hue. Can you provide some opportunities in reservoir engineers or in engineering to upskill to be able to apply data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning workflows? So I'll start with Silvio, with you, and we continue with Rodolfo after that. So in terms of opportunities, I'm guessing that it's in the context of our society as well as probably company and the schools actually. So I don't know what happened. Silvio dropped out, so probably you can cover. We can change the order, Rodolfo, on this.
Well, it's undeniable that there are many data analytics applications in all reservoir subdisciplines, and that in the future these applications will be even more frequent. The purpose of exposing the challenges that I mentioned is to emphasize that there are areas of opportunity that must be addressed, and that some of them have to do with the teaching of petroleum engineering in the universities, where it is convenient for students to be exposed to these applications. And what we need to consider is that in the petroleum engineering curriculum, many disciplines such as geology, for example, have participated, and now is the turn of data analytics, machine learning to be part of the petroleum engineering curriculum.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like we start bottom up on this thing, but also we are in an era that a lot of webinars, various educational opportunities are freely available in the free media, like you can freely access, in other words, like YouTube to LinkedIn to various places. And also the SPE has various webinars and opportunities and courses as well for those short courses in certain that are tagged to certain SPE events, actually, conferences, etc. But of course, if there's a demand as a society, we also react to that demand as well. So I'm not sure Dr. Livescu is going to be able to join or not. So we have 1 minute here to wrap up, I believe. I will check with our organizers here as well. So what would be the final notes that you want to reach out to our audience over here, Rodolfo, while we are waiting for Dr. Silvio Livescu?
Well, some of the challenges and questions that I have posed today have been expressed by some members of the Reservoir Advisory Committee. And what I want to let you know that is that they don't have a simple solutions, but it is convenient to be aware of them, to have a better future applications of these technologies. It's important to know that there are some issues like the data, the quality of the data, how representative is the data, the quality, if that data is sufficient, and also the assumptions that are behind in the reservoir models that we are using, and also behind the data-driven tools that we are using. It's important to be aware of that. That will be my message.
Yeah, thank you very much. As an ex-TD of the Data Analytics and DSEA, I will do the wrapping on behalf of Silvio, since he's not here. All I want to say is that we need expertise. All options are on the table to solve our complex problems, and it's not an either or question. And we have a long way to go to improve all the processes that we are doing. And if we cannot integrate things physically, we can integrate them in data science a lot easier. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the listeners and people who are watching us. Thank you, SPE. Thank you, Rodolfo. Thank you, Silvio, and our organizers.
Thanks for listening to the SPE Live podcast. For more content, visit the SPE Energy Stream, the industry's digital pulse, at streaming.spe.org. If you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to subscribe and review. Join us next time on the SPE Live podcast.